Hello and welcome to the Wright Know Your Money podcast. I'm Ashley Smith.
And I'm Tom Richards.
On the Know Your Money podcast, we talk everything from financial planning tips to how what's going on in the world around you affects the money in your wallet and, most importantly, your financial future.
If this podcast helps you, please like and subscribe so that we can help as many people as possible moving forwards. In today's episode, we're going to discuss when you should start saving for retirement and if it's actually ever too early to start saving. Over to you, Ash. Can you answer that question? Is it ever too early to save?
In a word, no, but let me expand on that for our listeners. So when you're just starting out in your career, the prospect of retirement in 40 plus years seems so far away that you hardly give it a second thought. It can be very tempting to just opt out of your employer's pension scheme and ignore saving for the future altogether. Most people of that thought process will have the thoughts of, I'm too young to save for retirement, or I'll worry about it when I get older. However, this can be hugely detrimental on your retirement planning, as you're forever trying to then play catch up with your savings, as you'll have missed out on some of the great benefits of what's known as compounding interest. Even in their 40s and 50s, we do come across some people that still feel that retirement is a long way off, and as such don't really look to set up any kind of strategy for their retirement goals. Although it can feel a long way off, the sooner that you do start planning, the sooner that you do start saving, the less that you'll need to save each month, and the less actually then you'll notice that money being deducted from your income each month.
That's great, thank you very much. So for those that have this mindset, do they actually ever catch up with their savings?
Unfortunately not, no. So statistically, here in the UK, only 1 out of 6 people will save enough to enjoy what we would call a comfortable retirement. A comfortable retirement, you need about £33,000 for an individual, and that allows you really to be a bit more spontaneous with your money in retirement. So you can have a subscription service to a subscription streaming service, regular beauty treatments, a couple of foreign holidays a year. If you sort of get to retirement and you don't have any savings of your own, the only income that you're going to then have is the state pension, and at the moment that is £9,628 a year, so that's some way short of that £33,000 target that you would need. Obviously then the earlier you can start saving for that retirement, for any financial goal really, the less you need to set aside each month, again because of that compounding interest.
That's brilliant, thank you. You've mentioned compound interesting quite a few times so far in this podcast. Could you just explain to the audience what compound interest actually is?
I can, yes. I'm going to leave you hanging a little bit on that one, and firstly just explain what simple interest is, because that helps then with the description of compound interest. But simple interest effectively says if you have £10,000 and it achieves 6% per annum growth on the initial capital only, after year 1, your £10,000 is now £10,600, so you've had £600 worth of interest. A simple interest would be for year 2, another 6% on that £10,000, so you've now had £1,200 of interest. Your value has gone from £10,000 in 2 years to £11,200. Fast forward 10 years, and you've now got £16,000 instead of 10. That effectively then is £6,000 or 60% as a return. It would take you roughly 17 years for that £10,000 to double to £20,000, and it would not double again to £40,000 until year 50.
Yep.
Okay, so compound interest then, and how this differs. So not only are you earning interest on that original capital, but you also earn interest on your interest. So again, using that last example, we'll use the same figures: £10,000 invested, 6% return, and after year 1, your £10,000 is still £10,600. However, in year 2, because you're then earning 6% on your £10,000 original investment, and you're earning it on the £600 interest, at the end of year 2, your value is £11,236, not £11,200. Now, in the early years, doesn't seem like a huge difference, but as time goes on, after 10 years for example, with compound interest, the savings are now worth £17,900 compared to the £16,000 that we had with simple interest. It takes roughly 12 years with compound interest to double your money. So previously it was 17 years, with compound it's 12. And actually, and this is where compounding really becomes magical, every 12 years that money doubles again. So your 10,000 becomes 20, and then your 20 becomes 40, your 40 becomes 80. Whereas we just said with simple interest, to get from 20 to 40 it will take 50 years. Well, actually with compounding interest, you get there much sooner, because you're getting all that extra interest on your interest, and instead of it taking 50 years, it takes 24 years. And in fact, by year 36, you've now got 80,000 with compounding, whereas you still wouldn't even have had the 40,000 with simple interest.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for that. And I think the audience will be able to see there how powerful compound interest is, and obviously why it's so important to save. The earlier you do, the better it becomes. How does that translate then to actual savings rates when looking at retirement planning for our clients?
Yeah, so it does help. You're quite right to put it into sort of actual figures and say, well, if I am going to start saving, how much do I physically need to save? Now, as we'll touch on in a future podcast, the amount you need for your retirement will be different from everybody else. But to give you some sort of idea, if we're working on that £33,000 a year to get a comfortable retirement, and we'll assume growth of 6% a year, and we'll also throw inflation in there at 2% as well to bring that growth down a little bit. If you don't start saving until you're 60, you would need to put away £3,369 every month, so that by age 68, your state pension age, you can afford to retire with £33,000 worth of income. If you're 50, that figure, so just 10 years, that figure drops from 3,369 to 1,210. If we take that back to, let's say, age 30, you only need to be saving 361 a month, and if you start at age 20, it's 223. So from the very sort of worst case there, start saving at 60, 3,369 a month, or start saving at 20, 223, the difference is huge. So as you can see from that, the earlier that you do start to save, the less you will notice it coming out of your disposable income. When you are saving for retirement as well, there's a number of ways you can do that. Obviously, we've touched upon pensions here and in previous podcasts, but it doesn't have to be pensions. There's lots of tax advantages, yes, for pensions, but there's also lots of tax advantages and disadvantages for all the other tax wrappers as well. Whether you're starting to save for retirement now, or if you started many years ago and you just want to check if you're on track to meet your goals, or if you're not on track, what you can do to get those savings targets on track, you can contact myself or anyone else at Wright. Not only will we work with you to tailor a strategy specific to your income and capital goals, and we'll also ensure that you've got contingencies in place as well. All the examples we've given there were based upon what we would say is a comfortable income for an individual, but if you're a couple, how does that change? If we've done the plan as a couple and one of you were to pass away, how does that impact your savings? Thank you for listening to the Wright Know Your Money podcast. I've been Ashley Smith.
And I've been Tom Richards.
If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe or share on your socials. And if you're listening to us on Apple Music or Spotify, drop us a follow, leave us a review.
It really helps other people find the podcast, enabling them to know their money better and build stronger financial futures. Please check out the Wright link tree in our description for loads more tips, tricks, articles and videos and podcasts just like this one.
And most importantly,
stay tuned for future episodes.
This recording contains information from sources believed to be reliable, but no guarantee, warranty or representation express or implied is given to its accuracy. Wright does not undertake any obligation to update or revise any future statements. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future results. Investments can go down as well as up, and actual results could differ materially from those anticipated. This recording is for the information purposes only and has no regard to the specific investment objectives or financial situation of any individual. The information contained in this recording is not intended to constitute and should not be construed as investment or financial advice. Appropriate personalised advice should always be taken before entering into any transactions. No responsibility can be accepted for any loss arising from action taken or refrain from being taken based on this publication. Wright is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.